point you meet Tony Yayo? You know Tony Yayo since you were a kid?
I know Tony Yayo since I was a kid, yeah. He was signed to not signed, because they wasn't signed, but they was in an underground group called Rags to Riches. It was him, Fat Shy, AKA DJ Rough Hands, God bless the dead, and my man Katif, God bless the dead. They call him Huey P.
Do you remember how you guys met? Did you guys go to school together?
No, we ain't go to school together. Yayo like 10 years older than me. We ain't go to school together. We met on the block. 134 God Brewer.
Okay, so these were like your big homies that you looked up to.
He was never my big homies. I never looked up to him, ever, in my life.
A man known as Domination had viewers paying close attention during a surprising interview with Cameron. Right from the beginning, he brought up several stories connected to 50 Cent and G-Unit. The discussion covered everything from the long-running claims about Tony Yayo allegedly being slapped to conversations surrounding the shooting involving 50 Cent and the different versions of events people have shared throughout the years. The interview quickly turned into the type of conversation that had fans replaying clips and debating every detail online.
I don't want a problem.
No, I don't think you
I don't ever want a problem. But when they say they want a problem, I say no problem. That's it. It makes people feel like I want trouble because I don't have a problem.
One of the moments that caught the most attention came when the discussion shifted toward Tony Yayo being viewed as a respected big homie. Domination appeared genuinely surprised by that idea, almost as if he couldn't understand why some people saw him in that light. His reaction immediately stood out because Tony Yayo has spent years building a reputation as someone many viewed as loyal and dependable. His name has rarely been attached to stories that damaged his image publicly, making Domination's response even more unexpected. As a result, many listeners were left wondering what caused such a strong reaction and why he seemed uncomfortable with Tony Yayo being given that level of respect. The conversation became even more interesting when Domination began discussing his own history with 50 Cent, a relationship that many people remember as being filled with conflict and controversy. Anyone unfamiliar with that history would likely need to revisit old stories because those events are still discussed years later.
What would you think? What would you say your like wildest situation growing up there?
The wildest situation? Man, I don't think that's for the camera. Come on. So, there was a time that we was on the block and a dude walked through with his girl, and he walked through a whole bunch of dudes because our block is, any given day is flooded. It's not like that now, but it was 20, 30 guys on the block. And when the guy walked by, dudes threw a duck sauce at his head. And it was, in retrospect, it was corny, but everybody was laughing about it. I really wasn't jacking it, but that's one of the scenarios, but.
Okay, what happened after you guys threw the duck sauce at him?
I mean, what you gonna do? You got 20, 30 people. What is a dude really gonna do? It was really like some bully, so I really didn't respect it, right? But that's one of the wild situations, you know? But there's other situations that it been dice games, like Tony Yayo was at a dice game. He was rolling dice with somebody and left. He got smacked. Guns came out. It was a Wild Wild West situation.
Before moving on from Tony Yayo, Domination brought up another story that has circulated for years, involving claims that Tony Yayo was slapped during a dice game. Instead of simply repeating the allegation, he questioned whether the story was believable in the way it had been presented. His point was simple. When people are asked about the wildest thing they've ever experienced, most expect a shocking or unforgettable story immediately, not something that seems relatively minor by comparison. He even joked that throwing candy at someone's head wasn't exactly the type of story that would leave people stunned.
Rough Hands used to have a studio in his basement. It was like a makeshift studio. It didn't really produce the best quality, but we was there. Like 50 would record his thing, right? Nothing to do with us. He's just from our block. And we used to go record our parts. We was 134 All-Stars, right? There was a particular moment that I recall that there was an artist named Storm P, right? And this was after 50 got stabbed. There was an artist named Storm P. I was in the studio. My man Dre Product was in the studio. Doc Intelligence was in the studio. A dude named Gangsta Lou from Linden was in the studio. We was all there chilling, right? We was doing the mastermind.
Smurf was there?
Smurf was there. Yeah, Yayo was there and Banks was there, as a matter of fact. Also, yeah, they was on that, but Banks wasn't Banks at the time. He was Lazy Lloyd. He wasn't dealing with 50 at that time, right? So,
In his opinion, plenty of people from regular neighborhoods have stories that sound just as dramatic. Because of that, he didn't understand why that particular incident was treated as some legendary moment.
in the record, there's a dude named Storm P. He's from Baisley Projects. He actually ended up being managed by Superstar J. I don't know if that's still true to this day, but he was nice. He was doing this beat. I don't recall the beat, but his bars was hard. I recall the bars. He said, I dodged potholes, man, so I don't my rims. You dodge puddles so you don't your Timbs. And I was like, whew. He was young at the time, like our age, 18, 17, around that time. I'm like, oh, this nigga's nice. He's like, he was spitting that pain. So 50 came in the studio while we was in the studio and he heard that. And he said, yo, who beat is that? Like, yo, I'm jumping on that. He ain't even asked boy that actually did the beat. He just said, yo, I'm jumping on that. So the engineers let him jump on the track. He said, rumor last year, 50 got bagged. Rumor this year, 50 got stabbed. What's the rumor next year, huh? 50 got mad and tore Jai head off with the 4-4 mag. He said something about black, my baby mom's a wild out and stabbed me worse than that, you know?
Those remarks added another layer to an interview already filled with controversy, debate, and strong reactions from people trying to determine what was factual, what was opinion, and what might simply be adding fuel to stories that have already been discussed for years. That's also why the timeline never fully made sense to him. He kept examining the order in which events were being described and questioned why they were being presented that way. His reasoning was straightforward. If the Tony Yayo incident happened exactly as some people have claimed over the years, then why wasn't that the first story mentioned? Why begin with something that sounds far less significant and then jump to allegations involving Tony Yayo being slapped, arguments escalating, and people supposedly pulling weapons?
He was from Baisley, so 9 times out of 10, his management team was from Baisley. Supreme is from Baisley, right? I'm not privy to what happened after that, to what happened if Preem called 50 or not, or what was being said. I'm not privy to that. I do know that after that studio session, the next day, I went to the block around 12 o'clock, something like that. And they like, yo, 50 got shot early. So we all go to the back blocks. It's taped off. So we actually honestly thought he was dead. We didn't know he made it. We thought he was dead.
To him, that sudden shift immediately made the story feel unusual. He repeatedly questioned whether all the pieces actually fit together the way they were being presented.
I come from like a place where you have to be ready. Don't get ready, you gotta be ready, right? I would layer things around me to prepare for.
In his view, if an event was truly as shocking and unforgettable as some claimed, it would naturally be the first thing someone mentioned when discussing their craziest experiences. Because of that, he continued examining the story from every angle and challenging certain parts of the narrative. Those comments sparked conversation because they suggested there could be more to the story than fans had heard over the years. What made his opinion even more notable was that he had once been very close to both 50 Cent and Tony Yayo. For a significant period, many people viewed them as being part of the same circle. Reports over the years have suggested that things changed after disagreements involving a bond situation, and from there, tensions reportedly escalated quickly. According to stories that have circulated for years, problems grew after claims that 50 Cent declined to help with the bond. Once Domination was released, the disagreement reportedly became impossible to ignore. Fans still remember the heated radio confrontation that followed, a clash many associate with Hot 97.
Right? When I reverse, I said, I seen the car coming. I'm trying to be considerate. But I thought 50 saw it, so he ain't say nothing. But when I turned around, I'm like, yo, who this? I seen somebody jumping out the car. He seen the car, but he didn't see the person jump out the car. That's what I mean. I asked him, yo, who this? He like, I'm waiting for a response. And the response I get was, oh. So I'm like, oh, when I turned, niggas started shooting. So I forgot the car was in reverse. I'm thinking the car's in drive. So when I stepped on the gas, I hit their car. Thinking that I was gonna go forward, I went backwards. So when I went backwards, I hit my head. That froze me. Well, 50 said he didn't get shot to this point here when it froze me. That's when the gunman came around the car and he shot us. But in that process, the girl was screaming. She like, drive, drive. So that's what woke me up. And I drove down the block. And I drove him to the hospital.
Okay, and so did you reverse the car at all after you kind of started to take off?
I just told you I had the car in reverse. I said that.
Okay, let me explain that. Sorry, bro. Let me explain a little bit better. So,
Because he was present during that era, some people believe he may possess firsthand knowledge about events that the public only learned about through rumors, interviews, and secondhand stories. One of the major topics connected to that period involved 50 Cent's feud with Supreme and the events many believe contributed to future conflicts. During that time, 50 Cent was making a huge impact in hip-hop and wasn't afraid to challenge established figures.
start to take off. At any point, did you guys like?
Oh, yeah. I see what you said. Yeah. I did reverse back. When 50 told me he had a gun, I did reverse back. I didn't think you wanted me to say. I see what you did. You went and you seen what I said before. All right, yeah. I had a gun. Yeah, we had guns in the car. I backed up. I said, yo, I was going to go back to shoot. But he was already hurt, and Shorty was like, yo, take him to the hospital, take him to the hospital. So I took him to the hospital. I couldn't take hearing what she was saying. She was all hysterical. I had to get her out the car. So when I got her out the car, it was just me and 50. I wasn't from Queens, so I told him to stay up. Yo, you gotta direct me to the hospital. So he directed me to the hospital.
Were you shot at this time?
I didn't know I was shot until I got to the hospital.
Where were you shot at?
I got shot in my left hand. It went in and out.
You didn't even know you were shot for all that time driving and everything?
Nah, I didn't know I was shot. The way, like, it went through my flesh, like it wasn't.
Around the same period, he released How to Rob, a song that immediately generated reactions throughout the industry because of the bold way he referenced and challenged numerous artists. The record drew attention everywhere and placed his name at the center of conversations throughout hip-hop. At that stage of his career, 50 Cent was gaining enormous attention and moving through the industry at full speed. Nearly every move he made became a topic of discussion, and his presence was becoming impossible to ignore. According to the version of events being discussed, however, he may have entered a complicated situation without fully understanding every connection between the people involved. From his perspective, he was simply a rapper appearing on a buzzing record and working alongside people he already knew or trusted. Everything seemed normal on the surface because many of the individuals involved shared mutual relationships and appeared familiar with one another. However, according to stories that have circulated for years, tensions existed behind the scenes that weren't immediately obvious. What looked like a routine collaboration may have carried deeper consequences because of the people connected to it. As the story goes, once certain lyrics and comments started gaining attention, people began paying much closer attention to the situation and the relationship surrounding it. Reports claim that people connected to a track involving 50 Cent had ties to circles associated with Ja Rule and his camp. After 50 Cent allegedly took verbal shots on the record, tensions reportedly grew and eventually became part of a much larger rivalry. According to stories shared over the years, this period became a major turning point in the conflict. The interview generated strong reactions because it revisited old hip-hop controversies that fans still debate today. Some viewers believed Domination's account was credible because of his past connections to G-Unit, while others questioned whether certain details had been exaggerated over time. As clips spread across social media, fans revisited old interviews and debated every claim. Domination's calm and confident delivery convinced some listeners, while supporters of 50 Cent questioned why these stories were only being discussed now. now. A man known as Domination had viewers paying close attention during a surprising interview with Campron. Right from the beginning, he brought up several stories connected to 50 Cent and G-Unit. The discussion covered everything from the long-running claims about Tony Yayo allegedly being slapped to conversations surrounding the shooting involving 50 Cent and the different versions of events people have shared throughout the years. The interview quickly turned into the type of conversation that had fans replaying clips and debating every detail online.